Welcome to the Man United show. We are live and we have plenty to discuss tonight. Tempers are flaring at the United at Old Trafford, and I'm hoping tonight they are not going to be flaring because we are cool, calm, and collected. Are we not, Garth?
No, we are not, mate. No, I haven't been this anyway. Yeah, no, we are not.
Look,
fuming.
The moment that Marcel loses the plot is the moment that we need to just pause and take a breath and reevaluate stuff. So I'm going to use Marcel to bar. How you feeling, Marcel?
Fantastic right now.
Right. Mr. Positive is here. Nathan.
Optimistic about Brentford.
He's still optimistic. He's still optimistic. I was just going with positive. Optimistic. Nathan, how you doing? Shaking at the head. Nathan Ellington's in the room. How you doing, Nathan?
Flatlined at the minute.
There's no life.
I really don't know what to think at the moment. I'm just confused. From the things that I'm hearing, I'm just confused, mate. I'm just confused. I don't know.
All right. We've got plenty to talk about. I see the comment section is already popping. How is everyone doing? Sir Alex, King Erik, it's good to see you. Albert, nice to be back. All right, let's get started. First and foremost, the most important one, the big one. There was a lot of hype before the game. The game started, and within 39 minutes, I could feel the energy, not just from WhatsApp, but probably all the way up in Manchester as well. Nathan, we're going to have a little Brighton recap. What happened, Nathan?
Before the game, when I saw the starting lineup, I was thinking, I'm not too happy seeing no recognised player who can play up front. Like anyone who could just play up front, I would have rather have seen, and I would have liked to see that happen because I knew we needed to stretch him. And then I was thinking, you know what? I think Ten Hag's playing the game here. I think he's picking the old players first, so then he can get that out of the way, get the losses out of the way. Then he can bring in his players, and then what will happen is they won't have as much pressure. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's what's happened this game. I thought he felt he could still win the game, but really looking at it, we couldn't get him behind them at all. We couldn't do nothing. We couldn't stretch them at all because we had Bruno up top or Eriksen up top, I hear, and it was. So in the end, I was just thinking, we're looking okay. First 20 minutes or so, we're looking all right, but we ain't done anything. We ain't had any chances. We ain't really done much. And I felt like Shaw was he was on his chilled out spliff game again. So I wasn't with him. And then it was just like Martinez came. He looked good on the ball. He looked lively, like a person who could help out, really well. He had a good first game, but I just felt like he needed to do a bit too much to help the team stay solid and look solid. So yeah, for me, looking at it, I don't know if I want to go through the whole game, but really looking at it was like, we started off okay, didn't really promise to do anything. And then they go and score, then they score again. And it's like the same old last season. I'm looking at the players on the pitch and thinking, I can't see a way back. Like, hurry up and get Cristiano on now. Then McTominay gets injured he should have got he gets a yellow card for bad he should have got a yellow card for his bad touch before that bad challenge. So he should have been sent off, actually. I would have given him a yellow card saying, listen, that's touch that. And then yellow card, that's a bad tackle that. So yeah, that would have been 2. But then it meant he was redundant because that's the kind of player he needs to be to play. So if he's sitting on a yellow card, I was thinking, please just get him off quickly and get Van der Beek on so at least someone can do something. So that was another player who was sitting there. Fred went back to his old ways, but it wasn't his fault. I felt it was all because players were back to not moving again. Shaw's not moving. So then, and also he doesn't see a Rashford run. So when I saw Malacia the previous game, Malacia just, soon as he moved, he put it in his path. And that makes Rashford have a better game. But if that doesn't happen and Fred's got no options, we know what he's like already as a defensive midfielder. So he's always going to lose the ball if he's got no options. He can't wiggle out of trouble. And then he loses it and he becomes like one of them players again. We're looking at him going, bloody hell, Fred, please play better. So, and then Dalot's not non-existent as well. So then we're sitting going, wow, Dalot's non-existent. Shaw's not moving. Fred's playing like old. McTominay can't play. And then we've got a player up front who's not up front and not a striker. So I'm thinking, we're never going to come back to this game. And then second half comes and we have a bit more of the game. Eriksen drops deeper. We're looking better. But again, too little, too late. And to be fair, I just didn't think we did well enough. Overall, we're just nowhere near as good as them. And that's not good. That's not great. and we look shaky at the back. I think even Martinez at times, he looked shaky. Maguire, for me, he looks shaky as well. He's all right on the ball, played a few balls here and there, but seriously, we just look like a mid-table defence, and Martinez helping out a little bit to make us try and look better. But I'd rather him not having to do the harder work. I'd rather someone else taking the lead and Martinez being the one chilling. But we could talk about that later anyway. Spoken of.
Garth, when you saw the starting lineup, did you feel like there was a bit of naivety?
Yeah, man. I see we're doing this as the angry episode, starting with this, then moving.
Sorry, I've got
mate. I won't lie. I feel, and I know myself with generous as well. I feel Nathan was being very generous. I think Ten Hag made serious errors in that starting, like serious errors. If we're going to be blunt about it, I know it's his first game. Nathan said something on the post match. It was very. I didn't really think about it before. It was very, very true. We're playing Eriksson up front. He's not a striker. Strikers play their back towards goal. He ain't used to that. Like. When we're playing wingers with no striker through the middle, what's the point? Like madness decisions for me. Shaw starting, even though I said he would, madness decision. Fred and McTominay starting, madness. Like mistakes everywhere. For me personally, mistakes are not bringing McTominay off when he was on a yellow card, mistake. Not bringing Shaw off at half time, mistake. Not bringing Ronaldo on at half time, mistake. And I'm not getting on Ten Hag because I trust him, I do, but. Yeah. He's gonna learn hard, and that was a lesson in the Premier League right there. And then at Old Trafford against Brighton, you know what I mean? If this was under Solskjaer, Mourinho, Ragnick, we'd be up in arms about that result and that formation.
Just a question to you, or a point. Ragnick done this. Ragnick played the false nine. What with his second or third game? So is there a pattern here? Is he getting into the squads, looking and thinking? Ronaldo, I want to either move away or it ain't what I want, and this is what I want to go for. Because we've seen two managers do the same thing.
Yeah, but Ragnick learned quickly as well, and this comes back to the why didn't Ragnick stay on for 3, 4, 5 months for a transition period with Ten Hag? And even if it is just a consulting role, this is what we've done, showing some video. For me, many mistakes from the starting lineup to the end of the game. So yeah, he'll learn the hard way. I'm not having to go at Ten Hag here, but yeah, you can say Ragnick done it, and that didn't work either. You know, his team fell apart as well. Mm-hmm. And when we really get into it, it comes back to the players, don't it? It really does. These players are not putting in enough effort for me. Shaw, Rashford, non-existent. I know Rashford had a shot, but didn't do much all game. McTominay, as Nathan said, he's just not able to do what is needed. And I know other people thought Maguire done all right. I thought, like, the thing I've got with Maguire is what I keep saying. Just because he didn't have a bad game doesn't mean he had a good game. He had an all right game. This is the bar what we've got for the world's most expensive centre back. Oh, he done all right. We should not be saying that ever. Period. If it isn't a 7 or 8 out of 10, he's had a bad game, in my opinion. So yes, sorry, I'm ranting now. So yeah.
One point on that as well. If Welbeck plays like an 8. And your defenders playing well, how does that work? How does Welbeck play well and then your defenders are struggling? And I think they both struggled with him.
Martin has as well. Yeah.
A little bit better with him at times, but they both struggled at times as well. You got him behind.
But on that, Nath, even if Welbeck does play an 8, like Garth said, this is the most expensive defender in the world, and part next to him is one probably near to the 3rd or 4th most expensive defender in the world. Surely you've got to be able to deal with that.
Exactly my point. So anyway, I'll let Marcel talk because he's both
Marcel's been very, very positive.
Yeah, spin that positively.
I
will
allow you to spin this.
No, I'm going to agree, Kieran. I'm going to agree with Garth. 100% right. It was indicative of the pre-season. It was indicative of the lack of preparation that we've been doing in terms of outside of the pitch. We wasn't prepared for this fixture, but Ten Hag's going to learn the hard way. You know, he's come into the Premier League. He's tried to implement a shorter stature player at centre back, and Brian utilised that. You know, this is Graham Potter, fantastic coach. He knew that the long balls had to go into that side, make it very difficult for the new centre back that's only played 45 minutes with us. It was a big telling sign. You know, the pre-season definitely pulled the wool over my eyes in terms of the functionality of the midfield. It wasn't there. And it was difficult to take, they definitely reverted back to type. They were nervous, and you know, we've only seen these players perform without crowds. in the whole of last season, Kieran, it was poor in terms of when these players have to play under pressure, they can't do it. But this is perfect. This is a perfect apprenticeship this season for Ten Hag. He needs to learn what kind of teams he's playing against. The players that he has that he's trying to utilize. I agree with Garth. Plenty of mistakes. This false nine system. At Manchester United, we need a striker. We have Nathan here. It's important to have a striker for this club. It's really important to have a focal point number 9. And there was a lot of mistakes, but I'm happy that these happened early, and throughout this whole season, this is going to happen. So I'm still optimistic with us learning a shape. There was a clear, definitive style of play with the wingers very high, and everyone else, all the other lines were quite centralized. The fullbacks coming in, the midfield coming in, and Potter even implemented a 3-4-3 and made a diamond in there to make it very packed and difficult for us. So that man was a very, very intelligent, and he even displayed that the season before, even though we won luckily. So. And it was a 10 men for Brighton last time when they came to Old Trafford. So there's a lot of positives in terms of Eriksen coming on as the 6 and changed the game for us.
100%, yeah.
But I agree with Garth. And I'm not Maguire's biggest fan, but he was one of the best players in a very, very poor performance together as a team. But we need reinforcements. We need players in, and for Ten Hag to see that was a wake up call for him. He was talking a lot about these players have the potential and that they're second and that they've done well. But this is a completely different Premier League. This is not the Eredivisie. It's very competitive here. And from a Brighton side, he really, that was a very good wake-up call for him. And I'm happy. I'm very happy. That's the positive from it, that he's been able to see that this is a very, very high level of competition. And this will bode well for him.
Yeah.
Sorry, so can I just ask myself, do you think if we don't get a centre midfielder, can he still play this system with the high wingers, and can he still get away with it with Maguire at the back and Fred and McTominay in centre midfield?
Really good question, Garth. I think he's going to cultivate the abilities of Zidane Iqbal.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
So throughout the season, as he matures and we'll get to see James Garner as well. He'll have to change something. He'll have to be innovative, and I think he's very capable of doing that. And Scott will slowly get withered out. The likes of Fred, throughout the seasons and the windows, they will go. And if we don't get one, I would like to see Zidane and James Garner being, integrated into the first team.
Yeah.
Albert says, bring back in on his management purposes. I mean,
no.
Beating that same drum, Albert. You keep beating that drum.
Him being so buddy with these players is half the reason they've got the ego they've got at the moment.
Exactly. If you can't see that pattern, it's nuts. Rangnick did a false 9. We don't have the players to play that system. Ten Hag should know better. This is not the Eredivisie. Marcel, before I move on, he made a sub on the 53rd minute and 2 subs on the 90th minute. Could you see any logic there?
I think it was 3 subs at the 90th. I'm not sorry. I'm not trying to point whether you got it wrong or not. Like, why would you do that? I 100% agree with you. But again, this is like a learning curve. You want to make an impact on the game. I agree with Garth again. Ronaldo should be coming out half time. It was a very clear thing. Sometimes it's Bruno, sometimes it's Eriksen in the false 9. Bruno maybe is better there, but Eriksen can't play back to goal, like you mentioned. We need a focal point 9. It's really important, I think, for our club to have that. And it was a strange one, but I think maybe it's pointing towards, he wants to keep the players fresh, or he just wanted to see give the likes of Malacia that feel of Old Trafford in the pressure. Give the feel. I'm not sure, Kieran, if it was Garnacho that come on, guys. I'm not sure. Yeah, so again, it's those kind of players that maybe need to get the feel of Old Trafford, even if it's for a few minutes, so that they maybe go on to play at Brentford or the next game against Liverpool they play and get more minutes. It's important to get that because it was quite hostile at times. That the feeling within the ground once we started playing was very poor. So I didn't understand it at all, Kieran. And Ronaldo should have come on earlier. But these are mistakes. This is a teething period and an educational process for this manager. So I'm happy that, these kind of things are happening now, and they won't be happening maybe in season 2 or season 3.
Yeah. We all said this at the start of the season, didn't we?
Wow.
We all said that this was going to be like, he's going to have a hard time coming into the Premier League with this squad so down on its knees at the moment. And he's going to and as Marcel said, he needs to learn quick. Otherwise he's going to have a rough time and be gone. And I don't want to see that, because then we're back at square one again.
It ain't gonna happen. I'm telling you, it ain't gonna happen.
No. What can you take? What positives can you take from the game?
The fact that he played Shaw, he knows what Shaw's like now, so he knows.
I love that. What did you say that he saw this team and knows it ain't cutting it?
No, seriously, that I think that's number one. I think if we had him, it would have changed a lot of things that happened in the game. There's a knock-on effect of a lot of things like that, and I think Malacia is very, like proactive. He does things before he gets, told to do it. You'll see as soon as a ball gets played, and he'll wiggle out of trouble. He'll try and get forward and overlap. Shaw was just chilling, like we see him all the time. Like we've been used to seeing him. It's just not good enough. He needs to be behind Malacia. When Malacia gets tired or injured, bring on Shaw to be defensively okay. It might be all right. But seriously, we need proactive players on there. The more we have, the better it's going to be, because Martinez was looking for balls. Maguire was even on the ball trying to look for passes. And Shaw, but he's not. My point is, everything will change. And I even had a thought in my mind. I was like, what can we do here? I know Maguire will play, so what can we actually do here which would make sense? And I was thinking, you might have to play Martinez central defense midfielder, and then bring Varane in. And now you've got Varane, Maguire, and Martinez in the hole, who will come and show for it, who will get on it and look for people. And then you get Malacia left side, who will move up and down and find people. Then Rashford will play better. Then Fred and McTominay might even play better. And then you can bring on the other midfielders if they get a chance. Obviously, bleed them in. I don't want to see them starting in a baptism of fire away at Brentford or against Liverpool. That'll be a bit of a struggle. So I want to see it done right. And I just want to see. I know them players we've brought in will make a difference to our side. That's for sure. Eriksen definitely already has. Malacia definitely. And I think Martinez will as well. Just depends what he does with that, because I do not want to see what I saw Saturday. I do not want to see Martinez, Maguire, or we're doomed. That's all I believe. We're doomed if we play with them two at the back. It's going to be a bit of a struggle. You need some. I don't know. You need a bit more in that position where Maguire plays, I think.
All right, Garth. How long can they put up with Shaw, with Luke Shaw? We've been questioning his abilities, his application for
desire,
what I have been desire. All of the above, mate.
Yeah.
How long can you keep on beating the same drum and saying, "Oh, when he's on it, he's on it," but when he's not, he's not? Like, how long can you put up with this?
After what I saw against Brighton, no longer really. He has to be put. I feel like this about Maguire as well. They have to be put on the bench and shown that they are not like you are replaceable. You're not irreplaceable. Like, your starting spot is not guaranteed, because what Nathan's saying is entirely correct. That's one of the worst performances I've seen from Shaw, energy wise, like expensive, like progressive play wise, moving the ball up the field, making those key passes. That's one of the worst I've seen from him. It was only 2 years ago that I was calling him Roberto Carlos. You know what I mean?
You remember that?
Yeah, he was scoring in the European.
You can't play against Brentford.
Yeah, he was scoring in the European Cup, the European Championship final. You know what I mean? Like, marauding left back, bombing down the wing, crosses in and everything. Now, listen, is he one of the ones that it takes a little bit of time from pre-season because of his dietary habits that we know about? You know what I mean? To lose that bit of extra weight, get that extra bit of stamina back up, maybe. But again, professionalism, no.
You know what? I don't think it's anything to do with what he eats or anything. I think he's probably a fit lad. He just doesn't want to do the running. Like, he just doesn't want to do it. He's got the levels. We've seen him do it already. So, end of the day, it's just some people need pushing to get to them levels. Some people have it inside them to want to be them levels and be more. He ain't one of them. It's simple as that.
That's what I mean. He's at 99%. Where's that extra 1% from him that makes him Roberto Carlos, not Luke Shaw? Yeah. You know what I mean?
What are you saying, Marcel?
Do you think he's playing within himself? Like, we always feel like there's another level to come from him.
Yeah. He always does that. This is what I see. There's players, when I play, you notice them kind of players. You go, wow, he's got so much ability. But why don't he ever really go for it? Like, really try and be the best it could be. Why not? And then that's the kind of thing I'm seeing with him. It looks like that from him. Simple.
But for me, I've played with these players. Yeah, there's a few types of this player. Yeah, there's the player that plays within himself because it feels like he can't be asked. Yeah, no one. That is the most frustrating one. There's the player that plays with himself when he gets in under big crowds and the pressure's on. He can't fulfill it. Like what was the motivation that got him to where we called him Shawberto Carlos, the country? Where's that motivation gone, and how do you get it back? What's going on there?
It's Malacia coming in, but the thing is, he didn't put him in first. So what he's done is he's put him behind, and he's gone, I'm first.
Yeah, he's relaxed.
First still, I'm chilled. But, this is where he should come out, sit down on the bench, and go, Malacia's play. And he's going to play well. So he's not going to come out. So he's going to have to do well in the cup games and in the other games where all these other players have to do well when all the other first-team players ain't on the pitch. And it's even triply harder, not doubly harder, triply harder. That's when we're talking about people like Donny coming in with the reserves and the youth. It's very difficult to play well when you come in with them kind of teams. I'm telling you, very difficult. Shaw will be one of those this year. I hope he's going to be one of them.
Just to add to that, I think mentality and character. I think, Mourinho asked him for the pressure and required him to be at a certain level. And then, he doesn't really fulfill it. And then Oli comes and it's arms and it's nice. And, and then he starts to play because he's loved. But he's not able to deliver on that pressure. 75,000 every single week. It's difficult. And I don't think he's able to do that. And that's for the whole team, really. To be honest with you guys. So he's one of those players where that mentality of not being loved and still having to deliver and it being tough love, I don't think he's got that in him.
Yeah, it's a fair.
That's not a good thing for a Manchester United player. You're at the biggest club in the world, mate. You know what I mean? Yeah. So back to the original. If that's true as well, no, he's done. He's like, if he can't bring himself back up mentality, like Marcel was saying, like Nathan was saying, like mentality wise, physical wise, fitness, everything. And what's like, look what we just said. I said that he's not fit enough. They even saying he can't, like, he's just not got like the will to do it, and Marcel's question his mentality. That's what we saw in one game, you know what I mean? So wow, again, another
first game back making an impression of the new manager.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, man.
It's that, and I think Dick's message goes for many of the players that how many more managers are not going to play DVB until we understand which he isn't good enough. How many managers are going to keep on playing the same team until they realise that the players in the team are not good enough?
Yeah, I think Donny going to Beak is good enough, man.
He's not been given a chance. To be fair, with Donny. Marcel, before we move on to the next bit, do you have any positives you can take from the game?
The shape. There's a definitive style of play that we're gonna be embarking on. So game after game, whether we win, lose, or draw, these players will be trying to lay the foundations for future players coming in the style of play. I don't think Ten Hag will revert from that. So, that's a positive for me. Finally, we'll be playing a positive on the front foot as high up as the halfway line as possible. And every time I go to the ground, I feel very optimistic. It was a home game. It was very positive. So, there is support there for the players. We did create chances in spurts. The counter-attack still did look sharp at times. If Bruno scores that opportunity, maybe we're looking at a different football match. But there is alarming signs. We weren't being able to get it out to the wide players quick enough. Sancho was missing for a long period of times in that game. But, Eriksen, we're looking at a puzzle here, and Eriksen looks like he could be the deeper role if we need. The composure on the ball for Martinez looks good. Physically, we're still in question, of course. Welbeck, fantastic performance against him. That's really it, and yet to see that front three, that fluid front three that we saw throughout the preseason, we haven't seen it yet. So I'm still looking forward to see that, Kieran, and that's got to be one of the biggest positives as well.
Just quickly on Martinez, though, as well, man should have been sent off. That was a blatant penalty, push in the back, got through on goal, 100% Stonewall penalty, and if not a red, yellow card for me. Like I don't want to be seeing that. I said that when we signed him. He's rash. He goes down very often. Like, he likes to get in a slide tackle, and that shoulder barge was madness. So he needs to get out of his game quick time, because otherwise that's a red card waiting to happen.
Well, Callum says Maguire did okay. Albert says Martinez is too small to play at centre-back. Nathan, what was your thoughts on the Martinez and Maguire partnership, first impressions?
Like I was saying, I felt like Martinez looked really good and he looked really alert to things happening on the pitch. And he was trying to be there as well. The first time he looked really alert when he went forward to like press someone, and the minute they laid it off and tried to spin, he was already going with him. And I love what I saw about that. But then the ball got played and then he slid for it and missed it. So I was thinking, okay, that's not a problem. He's missed it, but at least he was on the ball for it all. And I like that. And I like his touches on the ball. And I know what kind of pings he can play, but he couldn't see anything. So that was good. In terms of Maguire, he was good on the ball. He was looking for players. He found players left and right. Simple balls, but it was good. It's just the point. My problem is when you're going to come up against pace, and Martinez is the main defender of the two, because, you know, when you've got pace, he's going to be the main one because he's a little bit faster. He's having to sweep up everything. I want to see Martinez being the main one going forward, trying to like win things, and then someone else having to sweep up, someone like a Varane that can do that, because that makes us much more comfortable. I feel like Maguire needs help. And Martinez was doing too much help for him, rather than just being able to think about his own job. That's the thing that I didn't like. And that's why they both got a 5. They both had some good to their game and some bad to their game. But overall, I just felt we're just looking too open here. We're too open. Against the Brighton, we're just looking like they can just run through us, and they ain't even countering us at times. And I'm like, Maguire, where are you going? Why are you giving them more space? One time, the ball got played down the side where Delo went. Delo made a run and the ball got played down the side. And Maguire just ran back to his box and left the guy to keep running. And then when Delo was coming back, he was having to get the guy who was running. That don't make no sense. So why is Maguire not coming across? Because his pace. He's scared about his pace. It means you can't slow the game down. So he lets the guy continue full pelt, and then we're way open. And it just makes me, I'm sitting there thinking, that doesn't look like bad play from the outside. From many people watching, they don't realize that that's not, that is actually leaving the team open at the back. Yeah. I can't help but say, if Varane's there, if Bailly's there, I know Bailly ain't going to play, but if Varane is there, yeah, he can come and slow the play down, like actually engage him instead of like dropping off. And then Delo can get back in the straight line and then tuck in. They can all shuffle across. But that didn't happen. And I feel like if that's going to happen against Brighton, seriously, and they both got 5s that game, I'm scared what's going to happen against Brentford. Them two up front for Brentford, they're ridiculous. They're good. We have to be able to keep these kind of players quiet. Man United are known for keeping them kind of players quiet. In anyone below 4th, all them players are kept quiet back in the day. I know we're not back in the day anymore, but seriously, we've got to find it. If we've got it in the squad, we need to use it, and that's what I'm worried about. Playing Liverpool next week, Brentford, Liverpool, this is going to be some big problems. These two are playing, I'm telling you now, from today, we are in big trouble. Big trouble, big results going against us, many goals going in, and that's what I'm saying. So I hope not. I hope we see Varane, because we need it. I think we need Varane and Maguire and Martinez in front of him, or Martinez and Varane. One of the two. Otherwise, we're going to struggle.
All right. Sir Alex says Maguire needs too much protection from me. James says Maguire turns too slow. His recovery is too slow. Facing forward and clearing long balls he's good at, but not counter attacks.
Very true.
That's damning words. Playing Harry Maguire is like playing a bulldozer at centre back. An elephant is more mobile. Be nice, kids. Be nice.
It wasn't that bad last game, but yeah, they don't go kill him for last game, but that's what you see in it. So
it's the same old. Goff, what's the answer? Is it bring Varane in and play with Martinez? Is it? I mean, you've seen Maguire and Varane. What was going to be any different under Ten Hag with them two?
Maguire and Varane at centre back. Nothing.
Yeah.
Listen, like people are starting to think that I'm on Maguire. I'm not. He's just not good enough for Man United. Pure and simple. Cold, harsh light day. He is not good enough for a top 4 team. I'm really sorry. Maybe in a 3, maybe, but not in a 2 like that. Not with our midfield. Not at Man United anyway. You know what I mean? If you're in a team that's always attacking and you don't get attacked a lot, either like a City or a Liverpool, maybe. But it's exactly what was it James who just said there. Yeah, he can clear a long ball and like get in, like if someone's running at him, put a tackle in. The moment it's something else, the moment he's put under pressure, it's a 50-50 or a 60-40. And I can't, like, even if it's a 70-30, 74, he's going to make it 30, he's not. That's still 3 out of every 10 times he's getting done. at this level is not good enough, man. It's not good enough. I personally would be playing Varane and Martinez from here on out to see how that works. I know Varane's had a few injury niggles last year, but I find a lot of times when players come from the Spanish league, which is a little bit more slow paced, it takes a while for their bodies to get used to the hustle and bustle of the Premier League, especially defenders. You know what I mean? So, like Nathan keeps saying, you can say he's injured, but he isn't injured at the moment. He isn't injured at the moment, so play him. And yeah, Maguire, I don't understand it. He must do really well in training. It must be one of it, because he's always in the team. Like, the managers obviously like what he does, but I don't see anything from him. I don't see him as a captain. I don't see him as a leader on the pitch. I was thinking through my head, what team would he honestly improve in the Premier League right now? Like that's in the top 6, top 8. Would he really improve anyone? Don't think he would. And that's another damning sentence in it. You know what I mean? So he's going to play because he's our captain, and he's obviously got something on the board. I don't know what it is, but there's photos locked away and it'll in a safe somewhere, obviously. You know what I mean?
But how much does it boil down to the fact that he cost £80 million?
That as well, yeah.
You're not going to be able to recoup that.
Yeah, but good businessmen don't chase losses, mate. Good managers don't chase loss. You don't chase losses. Like on the poker table when I play, you don't chase it, mate. If you're down, you're down. You walk away. You walk away. Fergie was king of that. Fergie, you look at Taibbi. You had 3 games, mate. Nah, fella, you're out.
The hard.
Even Forlan. Remember, Forlan was actually good after.
Yeah, but Forlan, he went to Athletic Cambridge and smashed it.
Loads of players like that he's brought in. Fergie didn't make that many mistakes when it comes to big signings, but you can go through the list of players. He was like, "Nah, mate, I've given you a chance." David Bellion, never good enough. Sorry, mate, get out of the team. You know what I mean? Cleberson, Jemba. Yeah. You can go through loads of them. You know what I mean? Dong Van Sao. Nah, sorry, mate. Mads Tim. Sorry, mate. Loads of players. So, you don't chase this loss, and just because we spent 80 million on him, I'm sorry, nah. It doesn't make him a good player. You know what I mean? You can buy me for 80 million. I'll still be utter trash.
We used to call Garth the road sweeper, mate. He used to sweep up on all the rebounds. That's about it, to be fair.
I was like Scottie Pippen, mate, taking in rebounds.
Come on. Martinez and Maguire partnership. First impressions, Marcel. What was your thoughts?
Well, just on the Garth bit there, it remains to be seen, Garth. I haven't seen you play, so I'm going to be positive on what you can do.
Mate, if you shoot, if you shoot and the keeper saves it, mate, I'm there. It's going in. Don't worry, mate. You're getting an assist, bruv. Yeah, that was my celebration. Pull the broom out and sweep, mate. So you're getting an assist, bruv.
And that's my feeling currently now on Martinez. Obviously, Ten Hag needs to learn, so it remains to be seen on him. And everybody, I think that I speak to every time in and around the ground, they're questioning maybe the height and things like that. But we don't know. We have to see how Ten Hag is going to utilize him. Nathan made a good point that he might convert maybe to a CDM, and that's very much a possibility. In terms of the help, Nathan was mentioning about help. It's an £80 million asset. We shouldn't need him to have help. You're purchasing him because he should have a holistic game. I mean, Van Dijk, Wesley Fofana, these type of players that are touted for this kind of money, they have a lot to their game in terms of the modern centre-back, in terms of the pace, the agility, their passing range. I think maybe one of Maguire's best attributes is the heading and maybe the passing range. He plays well for England and Leicester. They were kind of counter-attacking and defensive systems. You're playing around your box. That's where you're going to be heading. There's not much space in behind you. So, it's easier for him to perform in those kind of teams where they're maybe playing more inside their half, England and Leicester City. So he's performed well there and in a free because there's more people to cover your deficiencies. But when you're that much and you're worth 80 million and you're playing on the halfway line, you need to have the pace. We shouldn't be trying to discount for your deficiencies. Of course, in those other two teams as well, they've got stellar midfields. At the time, the Kantes and all these type of players. So you got to consider that as well. And we are progressing in that kind of ilk. We're going to get a better midfield for sure, but there is just a huge holes in Maguire's game right now. And like Garth's been saying, there's just no way this man is a top 6 player, especially now, even West Ham, they're going into the market for serious footballers now, Kieran. And the level is really up in now, and he will fall short. Little things as well in terms of leadership. Garth's right. I've seen a timid David De Gea question Maguire in terms of where the team starts off on which side in the before they come out the tunnel.
Little things
Just
like
little
that.
things like that. Just little things like that are just huge alarming signs to me. David De Gea is the most timid footballer on the pitch for me. And if
No
he's
conviction.
questioning authority, then it's just a massive, massive alarm sign for me. And he's again, I have to trust in my manager. And I believe this is the one that will win us trophies, but he will learn. And just the fact that he even decided to put Maguire in there, he's given everyone a clean slate. Yeah. But we as fans have already seen it. We've seen this for season after season. So, you know, that patience kind of thing is definitely needs to be implemented, but it will take time for sure.
And I just mentioned Martinez in the CDM role. The fact that we're looking at Rabio, he ain't ever playing CDM. He was brought in as a centre back, and that is where he's playing. I looked at his positional history. He's only ever played CDM like 7 times. He played. He's never played there, and I cannot have someone learning on the job a new position in this team right now. There's just no way. You can't. That's just that Jenga thing's just going over. That's another brick gone in it. You know what I mean? So yeah,
we're in trouble.
And on Maguire, 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line of saying the same thing about the same player. It's not people picking on or picking things on the player. He's just simply not good enough. And if anyone is not seeing that, or anyone feels that people are digging out Maguire for no reason, as you said at the start, because he didn't have a bad game, you can see the 2 goals, and Danny Welbeck was man of the match. How good was you, as Nathan said? How good was you? A massive thing in the summer, lack of signings, lack of directions, lack of planning, lack of trust. It's the main thing. You spent 3 months trying to get Frankie de Jong for Manchester United. It's come out, or it's coming out, that Manchester United are potentially pulling out of this deal and going for Adrian Rabio. What's going on, Nathan? What's your thoughts on the situation? Ten Hag keeps on going back to Holland. Man United are offering what seems like nothing to the manager.
Well, look, from what I'm hearing, is that we haven't spoken to the player's agent or the player yet. If that's true, that's just madness. Like, it's not possible in this day and age to not speak to the agent and ask him, listen, is Dion happy to come? Would he be happy to come so we can spend our time trying to get him from the club? And then, so imagine they haven't spoken to him at all, and they're hearing this, he doesn't want to come, and they're still adamant that they're going to get him. That's just the worst thing on earth. And then it looks like we ain't even thought about who we're going to get if we don't get him. It's like, we'll get him. Oh, there's a week left. Who should we get? You know what? Let's just go for Arnautovic. Wait a minute. I know. Let's get Rabio. Wait, but like what? Just today? You just thought of that after the game? Did they sit down and go, listen, we need to think about who we can get? It just doesn't make no sense. And I'm just sitting there going, okay, they must have some kind of inclination that De Jong would come if it was the worst case scenario and he had to get, shoved out of the door and no other team wants him, and then I might come. Okay, even if it's just that, I understand where they're going to wait. We're not in the best position. That's number one. But bloody hell, man, it's getting late now. It's getting late in the day. We need to make some decisions. I'm seeing every other team making decisions quick. What we're seeing is done deal, not approaching or speaking about a price or interest, register interest, like they're sending an email. Listen, we're interested. No, it's done deal. Everyone's done a done deal, and their top players moving. Every player's got top players, and we have just not done enough. And we're the ones who needed more work. I don't get it. I'm waiting now, and I'm getting worried. Before today, before first game of the season, I wasn't so worried. But right now, mate, I'm getting very worried. I know it feels like doom and gloom like last season, but listen, there's nothing else I can say. I can't be too positive because there isn't anything really to be too positive about. I'm still optimistic that Erik ten Hag can turn this around and play with some of the players that he's got. But I want to see him make the changes and try these different things, not continue persisting and getting battered. That's what I don't want to see. But yeah, things are getting worrying.
Garth, Nathan touched on the Arnautovic. How did Man United get around to even contemplating bringing in Arnautovic to the team?
I mean, obviously, it's the Ten Hag link because Ten Hag. I mean, what we're going to get into is clearly Ten Hag has got no trust in the players that the Man United scouting department have brought him. So he's like, back to Holland, then players. I had a Arnautovic at FC 20 when I was under Steve McLaren. I know him, like he can work because he's a target man. And that's what he wants, obviously, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, but the fact he thought that like we could have Arnautovic is mad. Another mistake, in my opinion, to even suggest Marco Arnautovic for Manchester United. I'm really sorry. Like, he is not the level we need. Just play a kid. We must have a tall 18-year-old in there, you know what I mean? Just, like, madness to me. How we are surviving like this. Ten Hag must be, I mean, he's bald about to say he must be ripping his hair out, but you know what I mean? Like, he must be ripping his chest hair out, mate, because what is going on? Like, we honestly thought we were going to get De Jong, clearly. We've got no one else that we're looking at all, period. We're Man United, mate. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't do this. It's madness. Like, Ralph Ragnick drew up a list of players we should buy, thrown out the window, don't care. Like, it's so bad, man. Our transfer recruitment policies are, I try not to swear. It's so hard to try not to swear when you're talking about this. Absolute dog. What are they talking about? Marco Arnautovic. And people were telling me, like, oh, he's all right, he's done well. Look at his stats. He's a 1 in 3 man. Yeah, he's all right. But he's also an absolute piece. You know what I mean? He's an absolute, like most people hate him. Every time he's been at, yeah. Every time he's been at, people hate him. He's been banned twice for alleged racism. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, we're Man United. We're looking at Marco Arnautovic, who was a player for West Ham, 6 years ago? Come on now. Nah, mate. No, I can't have it. Frankie de Jong as well. We should have walked away from this deal months ago. He has outright said he doesn't want to come to us. And I don't know why we're still chasing it. It's the most mad, unrequited love story I've ever seen. Like, oh no, he'll come. He's outright said he won't. Yeah, he's outright said he won't. No, he'll come. He said he won't. Yeah, but I don't, mate. He don't know what he wants. And then it's like, yeah, but if they're, like they were saying, he'll come if there's no other option. I don't want that. I want players who want to come to Man United, not players who don't want to be here. And he's outright said he doesn't want to come. You know, apparently with the Bernardo Silva deal, Man City are trying to be like, oh, we'll do a swap deal. Frankie de Jong's like, yeah, I'll go Man City. Like, Chelsea. Yeah, I'll go Chelsea. Man United, 3 months ago, fee agreed with Barcelona. We've got Richard Arnold and Murdoch out in Barcelona. Like, oh yeah, deal's getting done today, lads. That was 6 weeks ago.
Wow.
1 game into the season, mate. I said this would happen. I've not said I was fearful this was going to happen. We're going to be chasing De Jong all summer. It's going to come at the start of the season. We're going to have nothing. And we're just going to be scattergun, shotgun approach. Who's out there? We've missed out on all the free transfers. Camara, Kessie. Missed out on all of them because we're going to think we're going to get Frank de Jong. We are not Man United of 10 years ago. We do not command respect in the player market, period. Why would you come to this shambles of a team? Why would you? If you're Frankie de Jong and you're looking at Manchester United, you play with Barcelona. No, I'm all right, Tom, mate. Oh, but Ten Hag's here, mate. I played with him for 1.5 years. What relationship do you think I've got with him?
We're even mates.
He was my manager. We're not friends. He hasn't even spoken to him apparently. So yeah, it's nonsense. Sorry, I'm going off on one. I don't mean to be. I'm like, but it's really hurting this transfer window. You know what I mean? What have we spent? Yeah, we spent 60 mil. Marcel's been saying for ages we should have 350 mil, mate. Ragnick said we needed 10 players. We've lost 7, and we've signed what looks like a backup left back because it's Shaw starting or a rotation left back. Christian Eriksen is going to be a floating midfielder, and Martinez, who we're not sure about. We haven't signed one guaranteed out and out going to improve this team player this summer. And like Nathan said, every other team has all around us deals done. You hear about Man City looking at Calvin Phillips, boom, 3 days later, he's a Man City player. Boom, done. What's happening at Man United? It takes us 3 months to get a transfer through the door. Anyway, sorry, that's my rant over.
No, to be fair, you make some really good points. It wasn't just a rant. Marcel, what was your thoughts when Arnautovic popped up?
Again, what he represents off the field, it should never be at the club. But what Garth said is just gold. I can't even. There's nothing. Not a word was wrong. But in the very same breath, I have to trust this process with this manager. If there's anyone that I'm directing my,
is this the manager's process, or is this Man United's process, and the manager's just looking at it with wide eyes, thinking, "What the hell?"
Well, a bit of both, and so what if there's anywhere where I direct my anger or my thoughts to? It's the board and the hierarchy above them, 100%. You know, they've let us down systemically for over 10 years easily. You know, we needed football people in these positions, but you know, every single word that Garth said is correct there. But at the same time, I do believe that, you know, Ten Hag has been adamant on this. That might be to his detriment. In terms of this of the Frankie de Jong situation. I think, you know, that definitely would be to his detriment if he doesn't get him in. But this process is being adamant on getting the correct players, the exact right players in, and if you can't get them, cultivating players within the youth system. It's something that we'd have to do if like I was saying before, if we did have the 350 million, there's so much flexibility in the market. You can't get this 80 million pound player, then you can go and get the other 80 million pound player. But we most probably can't do that if you've already agreed a contract with somebody 3 or 4 weeks before. You don't want to. And what was our budget this year? 150.
Seems like it, don't it?
Yeah, and that's because of the Ed Woodwardness, what I would call it, of consistent poor financial decisions. I mean, we spent 80 million cash up front on Maguire. It just doesn't make sense. No club really does that kind of thing. So, you know, it's been poor business decisions, and it comes to a kind of panic situation where you're touting names like Arnautovic. Again, I don't blame Ten Hag's kind of thought process here, because it's about mentality. He knows the character of every single footballer that he's brought to the club so far because he's worked with them previously. We've got a huge mentality problem in the club at the moment. It's the first thing that he mentions in his presser after the game. These players are not confident within themselves. They are good footballers, but they need to believe it. Well, if you bring 10 or 5 players that you know, and you know the mentality, you know what they expect within the team, you can change that. There's a culture shift that he's trying to embark on. Mm-hmm. It can't be done through one window because we have got incompetent businessmen trying to make football decisions. It just doesn't make any sense. So, you know, there's a clear conflict of interest there where it's financial at the top and it's football on the pitch right now. So, again, it's something that we need to look at going forward, and hopefully it will change. But I do believe that we have to kind of continue this process of getting the exact footballer that Ten Hag wants in. If it's Rabio, I'm going to support that. I don't feel like he represents off the field issues like Arnautovic, so that's something completely different. But there's no way that man should have been anywhere near our club or suggested. I think, you know, the media and journals are kind of trying to produce propaganda, and this player's thrown in, that player's thrown in the hat every 2 minutes, and Man United's that kind of thing. You want clicks and that. So I don't think it might have been Ten Hag's idea. I don't want to say that, but if it was, it's ridiculous. And again, it's a learning process for him. But we are in a very peculiar situation. I do still believe, though, on a positive spin, is that we will get 2 or 3 in. I still, and this was the big eye opener for him. And that's why it's so apparent that it's as soon as, like Nathan was saying, as soon as the losses happen, and in that fashion, oh, we need to get somebody in. So I do think for sure 2 footballers or 3 more will come in this window. And I don't know why, but I still believe Frankie de Jong is a possibility. I'll be honest.
There's this much chance still there. For some reason.
Can I ask though? But he has outright basically rejected us. Do you really want a depressed footballer at this club? Yeah, like someone who doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to be here. We had this Van Gogh Di Maria, remember? And we had to sell him a year later because... sorry, go on.
What did I say to you? I remember what I said to you today about there's something inside me that can't get my head around the fact that Man United have been told in private that this guy don't want to come. There must be his agent saying something. Because I was listening to Sky Sports today, and Dharmesh Seth was saying that they've had a broad agreement on contract as well. They've had a broad, I don't know where we got it from, but they must have spoken to his agent. I can't see how it's possible that they didn't speak to his agent and then they're saying what they're saying. Because when you think about it, in public, Barcelona was saying, no, we want to keep him. No, it's all about money, blah, 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 defender, midfielder, all this. And then we want to keep, you know what, it's been all that. And now it's coming to the business end, what they're saying. We're going to take you to court. It's been done.
That's getting nasty.
There's nonsense going in between that we need to just flush it out of the way and go, what's really happened here? The agent must have been spoken to. The player must have said, listen, I don't want to go, but if I have to go, I will come. There is a chance I could come. I'm not shut off to it all, but if there's other options, I'm sorry, I'll go there. That must be what's happened. It can't be he's not spoken. So
but with Man United, if that is what he said, we should have been like, all right, sweet, we'll see you later, mate. And I know that this is Ten Hag's player and he wants him, but we cannot keep being held to ransom for transfers. We can't, man. We just can't, because this is what happens every year. This is what I kept saying. I've seen this. I've read this book before, man. We get held to ransom for transfers. We don't get out in primary targeting, and then we end up with Mauro and Fellaini. Like, and they ain't a bad player. You know, I'd take him in a heartbeat right now. I'd take Fellaini in a heartbeat. But we were after Cesc Fabregas, weren't we? You know what I mean? And we ended up with Fellaini. Like, come on now. Like, I remember when Ronaldo left, who was he after? Benzema. We ended up with Michael Owen. Like, it's been going on for years. It was happening in the Fergie era as well, man.
Is it that we're Man United mentality though that has that even the people at the top saying, look, of course they're going to want to come. Let's do it in the club first.
I think that's what the board thinks, and that ain't the truth. They're living in cloud cuckoo land. Yeah.
That's gone. That's gone, guys. That's 100% gone now.
We're a Europa League team fighting for fourth place. Sorry, Marcel. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I agree with you. But that's why we have to. That is why we have to believe in this process. It could be to Ten Hag's detriment, and I 100% agree with the frustration. And it really could be to our detriment for this window. But once he looks again, and if we can't get him in, then we look for another target, or we get some makeshift player in. And this you have to mean as you go on. So even though this is very bad now, we knew that this season was going to be a difficult one, regardless of who it is that comes in. So I'm happy that it's like this right now. We've deliberated on it. We knew that the CDM was an issue last season and the season before that.
Yeah.
It's gonna. It looks like there's about 20 odd days, 19 odd days left for the window. It looks like that we might not get our man in Frankie de Jong. That might make us suffer for maybe till January or the next summer in the midfield area. It might cultivate or bring through Zidane Iqbal. We don't know. But at the end of the day, this one particular deal, I think it had to play out this way. We had to stick to our guns and we had to follow the Ten Hag plan. Going forward, we cannot trust the board to make the signings. They signed 30-plus-year-old. They signed retired players and marketable players. It doesn't make sense for us. So we had to follow this kind of scheme. I totally understand why we've done it this way for this one. Again, the reason why we're even in this predicament is because of the board. Consistent failures for many a year. And that is a whole different can of worms that we need to look at as well.
Yeah, I agree to a certain extent with regards to, look, if you're not going to get your man in, then don't just get in anyone. Yeah. However, you have to have plan A, B, and C. You have to. You just have to. And there's look, not everyone has a Frankie de Jong, and people winning championships, Champions Leagues, and the rest of it. So there's other players out there that can do a job that is not a Frankie de Jong. There's other players out there.
There's one thing that I did like about this Arnautovic situation. And it's not the Arnautovic himself. It's the fact that we needed to get in some kind of substitute player quickly. And it's only 7.5 million. Like, whoever it is, if we have to get in a striker that we can say is a recognized kind of guy who can actually just play up front. You know, like, he done wonders with Hala, by the way. He done wonders. Like, remember, he was at West Ham struggling, couldn't score a goal in his life. He goes there, they're in a proper system, and he bags goals for fun.
Tadic as well.
Yeah, so the thing is, he can do things with players. So I'm not saying Arnautovic, because we know about his off-the-field problems and his on-the-field problems that are not football-related. So the reality is I'm thinking, right, if he can find a little player who's 10 million, 7 million, while we're trying to wait for that better player, like if we can't get a De Jong, don't spend 80 million on a player that's not so good, and then we ain't got no money to buy that De Jong next time, or a De Jong replacement. Why not think, you know what, that's a good player here. He's good. We need someone in for this window to the next window to take us to the next. We can't have it like the end of last season where we were absolutely getting trashed by everybody and we just looked like a relegated team. Now, we can't do that. So hopefully the young boys, like Marcel was saying, some of these young boys, so Zidane, can make the step up. Garnacho can make the step up. I think those two look more likely to make a step up. I'd love to see him bring them in and see what we can do there.
Yeah. Weirdly, I thought Savage looked the best out of Zidane and out of them two. I love Zidane, but I was talking about him before he even played, if you remember. Yeah. But yeah, Charlie Savage looked the best. What we're talking about here, though, also brings it back to the flip of this coin. How bad we are at moving players on. I reckon the ball thought we might have 250 mil this season because we were going to sell Henderson for 30 mil, 25 mil. We were going to sell Bailly for 15, 20 mil. We were going to sell Jones for a couple of mil. Do you see what I'm saying? Have we sold anyone yet? Tellers. Was Tellers a signing?
He's on loan.
Herrera's a loan. So Henderson on a loan.
Herrera.
Tellers. And so Pereira, that's 10 mil, weren't it?
Well against Liverpool, to be fair, Goff.
Yeah, Pereira's all right. Yeah, pre-season Perlo's all right. You know what I mean? I always like Don Jay. Yeah, but it's our boardroom again. We can't ship players out. The reason we haven't got a new goalkeeper is because I'm not De Gea out, but I know we need a better goalkeeper, a more modern goalkeeper. No one's going to buy De Gea. He's 32 years old on 350 grand a week. No one is silly enough to buy David De Gea. No one, like anyone. So we've got De Gea for another 3 years, and because you can't. Again, a business decision. You can't have him on the bench. You can't. We're not Man City. You can't have that on the bench. So we've got De Gea.
I'm all right with De Gea. I'd rather we focus on other areas before him. Like,
watching that first goal, Nath, the way he didn't get down for that ball.
Yeah, like, I need other positions sorted out. I need central midfield for sure sorted out before I get another keeper.
Central midfield's the only one though for me.
But you got a striker as well. We need a striker position.
Not with Ronaldo and Martial.
Yeah, but he got injury and Cristiano being 37.
Yeah, then play Charlie McNeil. After what I've not been on De Gea's case for it at all, but realising what he didn't do against Brighton, we need a better goalkeeper, and it's apparent. And for me, it's central midfielder first, and then it's a close tie between goalkeeper and forward for the next signing that we need. First team goalkeeper, first team striker. It really is.
What I will say on that is, like, you've laid out there that you need a central midfielder. That's one of your problems. The other problem is a centre back, and now we're looking at the goalkeeper. Now that stems from that spine of the team that's constantly getting peppered. Like De Gea is only going to be as good as his defence at some points. Like they need to back him up as well, and you just haven't had that stability in defence or especially in midfield. So yeah, I think I agree that you need a modern day goalkeeper because you've got to be able to play with your feet. But I don't think I'm with Nathan. I don't think it's a priority in my eyes at the moment.
But in fairness, though, we're talking about centre back. When you really look at our recent transfers, 5 of our last 10 big transfers have been centre backs. Bailly, 32 mil. Lindelof, 30 mil. Maguire, 80 mil. Martinez, 50 mil. Like
3 different managers, though. Yeah. So they don't know what the directions in 3 different ways.
But what I'm saying is, if you're in the board. You're like, what are you talking about? In the last 5 years, we've spent 280 mil on centre backs, mate. Like, no, you can't have another 50 mil for a centre back. I'm really sorry. I know these were the last manager's players, but what do you want us to do? We can't ship these out. We still got Phil Jones on 120 grand on the books, mate. Like,
Garth's on fire today, guys. Sorry, he's on fire.
James says, by the comments, it looks like I missed Garth spitting facts. Don't worry, James. I'm clipping that epic one earlier on.
Investment in the centre back area. It's clear to me that you maybe need to improve the midfield and the goalkeeper area. That's and especially from the board's point of view as well, they'll be looking at it like that. Well, we've invested so much in centre backs, so the clear that like they're not getting. The centre backs need help from the goalkeeper in terms of positional, what they're seeing, where they need to be pulled in, and what's protected in front of them. So it's those 2 areas now that we need to improve. And I've always said that here's a priority to change in my mind, but I've let the community, the Man United fans globally have said no. So I'm giving them a season.
I would say no. I would say no forever. I would say no forever because I've always loved David De Gea. But I truly believe that it unlocks Maguire now. We're not getting rid of Maguire. So a sweeper keeper unlocks Maguire to be better. And because he's going to play every week. So we can't have Maguire, De Gea and McTominay as our spine. I'm sorry. I'm not having to go at any of these players. They're all professionals. They're all good. But when you really look at it, our spine is David De Gea, who cannot come out of his box, doesn't come off his line, can't get down for a ball like that, leg saving. You've got Maguire, who's shot. Not like his confidence, he's shot. And McTominay, who's bang average. And that's our spine.
Oh, damning indictment. What it boils down to in the end is, look, Man United need to get some structure upstairs again where they've got not necessarily a director of football. They've got a director of football who can... It don't matter what manager you get in, the players that they bring in are still going to be able to do well with the next manager because this is the philosophy, this is the way you're playing. If you keep on changing the manager to have a different philosophy each time, you're going to have problems. And this is where you are now. You've got to stick with the manager, get out the players. He's got to see what's not good and what's good. This is the season for him where you'll be able to see as well. Is he making the right moves? Is he getting out the Maguires? Is he getting out these players or is he giving them too many chances? Because he's the ones that have got these other managers sacked. So time will tell.
And just in case anyone's wondering,
just in
case anyone's wondering, I'm not against Ten Hag. Ten Hag is the answer. Ten Hag is the answer. 100%.
I'm happy with it.
I'm glad you said that, Kieran. Definitely enter overtime. I'm very into this.
We're going into overtime. Here we go. Is Rabio the right De Jong alternative or potential trouble? Nathan, Rabio. Look, I like this player. I think he's a very good player. There's a lot of comparisons to Scott McTominay. I even saw someone online call him the French McTominay, which blew my mind because we all know how McTominay is a Jose Mourinho player. He's a bosher. He's an athlete. He's a monster. He's Mourinho embodied. Yeah, Rabio is French, technically gifted. We're talking about. He was one of the best up and coming midfielders in world football a few years ago, but he was questioned on his attitude. That is it. His attitude. Nothing else. His attitude. This is a player who said, I wasn't really feeling up to it because I had a cold after an interview after a French game. This player can do it. He's not the French McTominay. But Nathan, is this the right alternative to De Jong, or is this potential trouble?
Look, if Ten Hag thinks he's the right alternative and he brings him in, I'm backing him. I obviously seen Rabio is an international for France. We know that. He's played pretty much the majority of all last season. He played all last season. So, to be fair, if he's able to do that and he's still not too old, get him in. We need quality in central midfield. And if this is the only... Look, it's not too much money to we paying. 15 million.
For a 27-year-old.
I'll
play
take
for
him
PSG and Juventus.
Yeah, I'm taking him because, look, what else have we got? We haven't got anything else. And it's not just like, what else have we got? But it's like, he's a quality player. Simple as that. He'll bring more quality than what we have. I know he's not the top of the top, but really, what else is there that's available that is the top of the top? And like I said before, if he's going to bring in players for now that he needs until he can get the De Jongs, 15 million on Rabio. No problem. 10 million on a striker if he can't get his real striker that he wants. No problem. Let's get a player in that can do the job that he wants, or let's nurture someone. Right now, I think this player it could be a very good alternative for now. And like I said, I don't know about the trouble out off the pitch. I don't really know how much he is a problem. All I know is he played majority games last year. So if he can do that for us, no problem. I'm happy. Do well on pitch. I don't care what he's doing off the pitch as long as it's not killing club rules.
Right. You happy with a Rabio, Garth?
Yeah, I don't even think he's an alternative to De Jong either. I think it's what I said at the start of the season was we need to make a couple of big signings and then 4, 5, 6 of these 10, 15 million pound signings. Yeah. So that's a perfect player for me. I'm definitely trying to find the article. I can't let it saved, but there's an article up for talking about him in Italy saying he rarely scores, he rarely assists, but so many people say he's the best player they've ever played against. And it's like, yeah, he's going to be that man. But yeah, I like Rabio. Yeah, I didn't know anything about his off-field troubles or his mum and all this, but we've dealt with divas before. You know what I mean? We had Pogba for the last 5, 6 years, for goodness sake. You know, we've got Cristiano Ronaldo. We've got players that make unreasonable demands. So that doesn't bother me too much, to be quite. As long as, like Nathan was saying, he ain't out there absolutely demeaning our club, you know what I mean? So yeah, look, he's a decent player, and no, he is not the French Scott McTominay in any way, shape, or form, you know what I mean? He's just really, but he is just an out-and-out centre midfielder. Let's not get it. He's nothing overly special, you know what I mean? But we need reinforcements. The problem is, again, though, I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, is it exactly what we need? You know what I mean? I want him, don't get me wrong, but does he really bring this team up to a level where we're beating Brighton? I'm not sure.
Who's he similar to? Does anyone know of any player that
he's more of a defensive midfielder than Frankie de Jong?
What is he similar to? If you look at a player, he goes, he's just
Calvin Phillips.
Okay, all right.
I'd go with more, but with more French flair about him. You know what I mean?
He's got more guile about him. He's more. Yeah,
he's more technically not like a Herrera type or anything like that, or like a Donny kind of position.
He's definitely not like a Donny. No, yeah, he's definitely more of a DM than a CM from what I've seen about him. So,
okay, because I really.
Marcel, you know a player. What's your thoughts on Rabio?
Not exactly Man United caliber, in my opinion, which is quite underwhelming when I've obviously first seen it and what he's done for the last few seasons, maybe at Juventus. I think he was playing at for a couple of years now. I've seen a bit of him last season, but a little bit underwhelming in comparison to Frankie de Jong. Anyway, it's definitely a couple drops down. But for the price, even the price, maybe 1 year left, and Juventus so adamant to get rid of him, it's maybe a telling sign. But I don't know. I'm more just putting my faith in the manager and what he wants. If he can cultivate and get something out of this player, then he needs to come into the side and help the team. Ten Hag is a very particular manager, I think, and he wants specific roles in certain areas, and especially in that midfield area, he only really has one sitting back. So he must have a very specific kind of attribute to his game, Rabio, to fit into this team. I don't see him as a world-class player, in my opinion, but he will add more than what we currently have. And right now we need to take step-by-step process. It's like, the stairs in your house, you can't get from the first to the top stair. And you have to take step-by-step process, and as a club we've step-by-step gone down. Slowly we've progressively made bad decision after bad decision. So I don't see this player being one that is part of a Premier League winning side, but it's a progression, and I hope that it's a situation where it's Rabio and Frankie de Jong in, or Rabio and another class player in. I've seen reports on the Milinkovic-Savic and players of that ilk. So. It's not the best sign, and I think it's definitely an underwhelming transfer, but it's a progression on what we have.
Can I ask, would you say, from what you've seen of him, is he better than what we've got in centre midfield right now, or not? So he's an improvement.
Yeah, we haven't got a central defensive midfielder. That's
what have we got?
I mean, we haven't replaced Matic. We haven't replaced.
And how silly is that decision looking now? Let him match go.
We haven't replaced these three footballers.
Eriksen for Mata, pretty much similar.
I think, the A in the centre.
Pogba in terms of an all-purpose footballer, and then the out-and-out CDM. We just don't have that in the club. We just have two energetic players in Fred and McTominay.
Who do a job. Smithy says Rabio, I'm good with. He's better than McTominay. That's enough for me. Albert says
that is enough for me. That's enough for me. Sorry.
That's enough for me. Rabio isn't any better than what we have.
I don't think you've been watching the centre midfield. I've been watching it, Albert, mate.
Rabio is a Man United player. Stay off the vodka, Marcel.
Mate, we're Man United fans, mate. That's all I got left now.
100% Marcel is spot on. I watch a lot of French football, and he isn't going to raise our levels. We've been watching the wrong Rabio, mate, because he plays in Italy. That's me going wrong.
We're in France before that as well. We're in PSG before that. To be fair, he is a born winner. Like, wherever he goes, he wins. I know it's because he's at PSG and Juventus, but you look at his honours, they're extensive list of honours. And he played almost every game, like Nathan said, for Juventus last year, who were chasing it. I have to disagree. I do think he is better than what we have. I really do think he is better than what I have.
Savic is leaps and bounds a better player than Rabbit Hole. You're not coming out with the puns already.
Milinkovic-Savic, I swear, we have been linked with this geezer for 37 years.
Everyone gets linked with him. Everyone gets linked with him.
Yeah, and then is it still Lazio? And then they're like, 120 mil. Still want him.
That's what I don't like about this thing. Again, we were linked with Varane for so many years, and then we eventually get him. We're linked with Milinkovic-Savic for so many years. We're going to eventually get him right at the end when it's time we should be getting rid. You know what I mean? That might be the thing with Varane. Hopefully, he's got his own training session set up now. Like Van Persie did when he came. He came and he had his own thing, and he was fit.
And Moyes ripped it up and flushed it down the toilet, didn't he?
And I was about to say, Ten Hag's going to rip it up and flush it down the toilet because he's all about team unity and everything, isn't it? He's all about you've got to be together. None of your individual members, none of your individual staff here. Say again? He has let him do it. Oh, right, fair play.
He's doing his own program. He's doing well, and he's been training every session since. So I'm expecting him to be able to actually be playing because that's what he was saying. So that's good that he let him do that.
I mean, you've got a World Cup winner. He's won Champions League. He's won. You've got to be able to get something out of Rafael Varane. You can't take Rafael Varane and just after a season, it's like, he's just not good enough. Like he is good enough.
Mate, they called him Mr. Champions League. You know what I mean? What is he thinking though? Sitting on the bench watching Maguire play week in, week out, and he's like, What, mate? Nah, I'll see you boys later. You know what I mean? I'm gone. Like, sell me. Like, what am I doing here then? And this is my worry with a lot of players now. It's like, we've got people like McTominay who are stinking up the joint every week's a little harsh, but you know what I mean? Not playing up to the standard, but playing week in, week out. And then players just aren't, like Baye, he's moving on there. You know what I mean? And then, like, we're just going to lose players. We're going to lose the better players, and we're going to be stuck with this dead team, man. This dead team.
Rid of these players, by the way.
It's very negative.
Yeah. You might have missed the positivity, mate. I missed the negative. Don't worry.
You don't need to get rid of him, Scott
McTominay. The
McTominay.
battery, mate.
We've spoken about this before. Scott McTominay is a John O'Shea. You keep those players in your team. They're the life and soul of the club. I bet behind the scenes, Scott McTominay is a barrel of laughs. He's been through the youth ranks. It gives incentive for the youth players to want to come through and other ones to join the club because you've seen Scott McTominay come through. That you want to keep that there. You don't want to. I hate selling youth players that get into the first team that could be squad players and would happily stay as squad players. But the problem is when you're turning around and going, no, Scott McTominay weren't bad today. No, we only lost 4-1, but he weren't bad. He had a good game. Well, that's the problem. Like, that's your centre midfield you're talking about, and he's your staple at centre midfield. That is not the bar at Man United. Is not Scott McTominay. And the fact that there's people saying that, he should stay in there, that's the problem. That's the problem when you're starting in, week out. Before we go on until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, I have to crack on. We've got one more of the players before we crack on about the Brentford game quickly. Alvaro Morata was apparently offered to Man United. Is this a player that you think you should be getting in? Look, there was Arnautovic, Morata. For me, it's chalk and cheese. I'd go for Morata all day long, and I wouldn't even think twice about it. He didn't have the greatest time at Chelsea, but there's still a player in there. Nath, what's your thoughts on Morata?
You know what? I like this player. I like what the kind of movements I've seen him play. I know he's missed more chances. I mean, I remember one season where he was missing quite a lot of chances, but really the type of striker, when I'm watching him, I like what I see, the type of runs he makes, the control on the ball. A lot of that is very good for me. He's not had the best of output though over the years, but I still would take him. I'd take him today. Like, if we could take him for like something cheap, I'd take him today as someone who can jump into this squad. He would do well for this team in that kind of situation. The system that he's got him playing now, I think he'd do well up front. I just think he would. Just something in my mind just saying he'd fit this system very well, especially for cheap, not for a lot, obviously.
All right, Garth, Alvaro Morata.
Not for me, mate. That's why he's been offered. He ain't Ten Hag's player. Ten Hag don't want Alvaro Morata. Like, he's.
Is there anyone out there that you, off the top of your head, that you would take?
Tony immediately.
Okay.
I haven't. We've been
staying at Brentford.
No, mate. We may have fallen, but we're still Man United.
Loads of money on him. You want to spend 50 million on him? 60 million?
You can't spend 50 million on Ivan Toney.
It'll be 40 mil, mate. It'll be 40 mil.
50 million on
I'll
Ivan
spend
Toney.
10 million, 15 million on Morata. 45 million or whatever.
Do we know that's the price for Morata? 10, 15 mil? Because we're talking about Alvaro Morata. I reckon they want 30 mil for him, mate. They're going to want 30 mil for him. And I would much. No, I would much rather
from Chelsea.
20 max.
And he was rubbish at Chelsea as well. He weren't rubbish, but he weren't great, man. We've got to start looking at these players who didn't make. He was there 3 years at Chelsea. He never ever looked great at all.
Yeah, but two of them weren't he?
Yeah, it's probably a fair shout. I bet he was actually. But listen, for me, the only striker that Ten Hag should be looking at is Ivan Toney. It's exactly what he wants. It's exactly what he wants. You talk about Marco Arnautovic, yeah, because he's a lot cheaper, but it's exactly his player. So I don't know why we're not looking at him. Unless it is what Nathan's saying, 60 mil for him, which is madness, obviously.
Player that we could take in. I don't think.
I just for me, yeah. Look. I like Ivan Toney, yeah, but for me, Ivan Toney's a player that, like, you'll buy now, and in 2 seasons' time, you're like, we've got Ivan Toney on the books. He's still got 3-4 years on his contract, and we ain't gonna get rid of him. Like, I don't want to be that's like, we're Man United, we're better, but like, this is Ivan Toney here. Like, if you're talking about, you've got, let's say Ronaldo's your main striker, which it ain't happening at the moment. Toney should be your backup striker, not your main striker. And right now, Tony's coming in as your main striker.
Mate,
that's the problem.
Martial playing right now, he's ahead of Toney. if he's fit. Martial's playing ahead of Tony. Cristiano's ahead of Tony. So that means Tony's coming in as third choice. No chance. You got to spend that kind of money on a player who's going to come in and overtake both of them players. And if Ivan Tony ain't going to be able to do that, why would you do it?
So then why would we get Morata?
Because he's 20 million, a squad player.
Mate,
That's
I'm
what
just
I'm
looking at
saying.
it. He cost 160 mil 2 years ago. You think they're giving him after 20 mil?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he's offering, it
How
must
long's
be
his contract?
in his
Go
contract.
on. Go on, Marcel.
I think this is just a huge sign of where we're at as a football club, because if we did have 350 mil, I think you do maybe go and put 50 mil on a second striker in Ivan Toney and he plays backup, similar to what Tottenham are doing. They're adding bodies to a strong squad already in Richarlison, and you pay around the 30 to 50 mil mark for another striker that can add a different dynamic to your team. Maybe currently now, I still would maybe, Kieran, maybe pay the 50, 45 million and in 2-3 years time, you go and get the better striker and that adds competition for places, and that's a good thing to have in a club. Is Morata good enough? No, I don't think so. He has the movement, and I do agree with Nathan in the sense that the opportunities and the looks at goal that Morata does earn from the clever movement is a good sign. But he's not a killer. He's not a goal scorer. He's not an absolute killer in front of goal. I can talk about Van Persie that's got the same movement or better than Morata. I can talk about Ruud van Nistelrooy that's got the same movement or better than Morata. But you need somebody that can finish these chances. Man United need a 20-goal season man, season in, season out. And Morata, I just don't see that from him. I don't see that caliber from him. Again, a timid forward. Again, I don't want a timid forward. I need a very aggressive, hungry forward. And that Morata doesn't strike me as that kind of strong character, strong mentality. Again, in front of 75,000, it's difficult. But I would still go for an Ivan Toney and maybe overpay just for the short term. And that's competition for places for the likes of Anthony Martial.
Can I just, I've got to throw this out there. I truly believe Ronaldo's gone this season. I truly believe Tony comes in, he's our starting striker above Martial within weeks because of the Ten Hag system, because of the way Ten Hag plays his team.
Do you find that it's not a problem? Do you find that that's a problem for someone like Martial who looked good in pre-season, looking good, and you're going to put him in the same situation that he was where he lost, his head went?
Yeah, but then we don't want them players at the club. We're just saying this about Shaw. We need strong mentalities at this team. If you can't take the fact that you need to improve to get your place back, then you've got to go. Adapt or die. I've been saying that for a year.
So if you play Tony ahead of Anthony.
In the Ten Hag system, ahead of Anthony. Where's Anthony? Oh, Martial. Sorry, I thought we were talking. Yeah, all day. I play him above Anthony Martial all day. I really do in the Ten Hag system, because look who Ten Hag's been playing. Look, he was looking at Arnautovic, mate. Arnautovic was going to come in and replace Martial.
It's not going to replace him. He wouldn't have replaced Martial. Martial would have been first choice. He would be first choice this season. If he's fit, he should play. And obviously, the only way he doesn't play is if Cristiano comes in and starts bagging, then he can't get ahead of him. But that's what I think. Martial has done so well this preseason, looking good. Not just the goals. He actually looked very, very good. Like none of these players are coming and overtaking. That's what I'm looking at. And if he stays fit, he's playing all season. He's probably bagging 20 goals.
So did a lot of players pre-season, and look what happened against Brighton.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. Some you can tell though. Some you can tell.
Listen. I got nothing against Martial. Martial for me, great player. He stayed, but with Ronaldo going, for me, and it's not about what I think who's a better player. What I'm saying is, in the Ten Hag system, the way Ten Hag plays, I see a Tony getting in that team before Martial and cementing himself there, because Tony will score as many as Martial, I reckon.
Yeah, and do you know what? And just to add on that, I think Martial might even be good staying out wide and playing on that wide left position, holding the width and coming in and causing damage. Better than Rashford would, to be honest with you. And he's still creative. He's a lot more confident going 1v1. He wants to show us how good he is on dribbling at the ball, on the ball. Sorry. So, it would maybe bode well again if you got the taller, more physical. Ivan Toney's played in the non-league. He's played in the non-league. So, Tony in the central area, Martial out wide, and Sancho, it looks almost very creative as well.
Thanks, Marcel. That there is better than what I'm looking at now. Now, I'd see Rashford sit down, Martial on the left, and Tony there. I would love to see that. Yeah. But I'm just seeing the way other things. I wouldn't have seen Martial come out. That's the way you can get Martial out of that middle onto the left and looking actually better. Yeah, I agree with that.
So let me throw it out there then. Do you go as drastic as selling Rashford to PSG to raise the funds to bring a Tony in?
In the season, End of the season, I'll wait and see how Rashford gets on. I'll give him this season to play in this system and see if he can get back to his form, because he is a talent once he's at his best. But it takes time for him to get back to his best. And, you know, he's got it in there to be able to hurt people. We've seen him hurt every big team. Every big team, not cheap goals with his own. So
yeah, he makes stuff. He does make stuff out of nothing, and he's a presence. Like that's what I like about Tony. That's why I've always
Tony.
liked him. Is we talk about?
You
Rashford.
yeah.
Tony.
yeah.
Rashford, what is his goal record like the last couple of years? Because he's on the same sort of...
Oh,
sorry.
Do we have time though, Nate? What I would say, do we have time for Rash? Because you're saying we need to give him time this season, and I believe this is his make or break season. But do we have time for Rash this season? Is it a good? Because you know, I don't think we're getting either 20. So we're deliberating on a player that I don't think comes. But you know, do we? It is an opportunity there. Sell Marcus this window and maybe get somebody in for the 50 million a striker.
I would get Anthony in for him, because I know Anthony will run at players for fun. I would do that if it was possible. I'd do it now. Yeah. But the thing is, it might not be possible. Someone might not be in for him. So let's look at the situation. We've got a Rashford here. I'm playing him. I'm going to see if I can get more out of him. I'll throw Garnacho in front of him one day in the next couple games if he carries on playing the way he plays. And I'll say, listen, Rashford, you got to sit down, mate. Garnacho's showing more. And anyone who's showing more will play. And that's what I want to see. And that's what, you know, I want Erik ten Hag to be doing. Soon as he sees that there's any deficiencies, get out. I'm putting you in. You can do the job. If you can't do it, you get out and get someone else in there. I need him to be so ruthless with this position players. I don't want to see the same Ollie madness, and I don't want to see the same even what's his name, Rangnick. You know, sticking with the same team that's just getting killed every single week. Everyone's getting smashed. I'm like, why is he playing again? Why is this player playing? Why is that? Like, come on. There's other players, give them a chance. And that's what we need to see happen. And that's especially with Rashford this year. It's got to come good. It's got to come good. I don't want to... Anyway, I've said enough. But left side, striker, I want to see him play in both positions to see what he can really do.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's definitely no time for a Rashford conversation right now. We're 20 minutes overdue. I ain't had my dinner, and you start talking about Marcus Rashford. Get in the bin. Not now. It's a whole pod on its own, mate. All right. Brentford away on Saturday. Look, if you're going to turn it around, it's got to be against Brentford. There's no we're away against Brentford. It's a tough team, but you know what to expect there, Nath. Quickly, thoughts on Brentford's got to be 3 points, surely.
Oh, not this again.
I hate it when you say that.
You know it.
At the moment, I hate it when you say that. But I think we will redeem ourselves. We should. If there's any game we can, if we can keep them quiet at the back, at the front, up front, sorry, I think we should be able to come and do a job. If he picks the right side as well, that look capable of doing a job, players in the right positions, I'll be happy. As long as Malacia is playing, you have to. If Martial is back and Malacia is playing, I think we've got a very good chance, because the team that we've seen over the preseason, that's what's looked very good. I want to see that team play in the league and absolutely destroy it. And any team that is going to destroy it against, I think Brentford defensively, they're not the best. So we should be able to capitalize on that if we do have that kind of side. So that's what I want to see. And I think we'll get the 3 points that on Saturday.
All right, go a quick one on Brentford.
I just need to break it to you quickly. Rashford was not in, Martial was not in training today. He's out for the Brentford game, apparently. So, sorry to break it to you, Nath. Yeah. Yeah, we're in trouble, man. I reckon Brentford win. I'm saying it out right now. If we go into this game, if I see Maguire, Scott McTominay, Fred in that team, sure, 1-1, 2-1 Brentford, scrappy win, maybe a 2-1 Man United, and we're talking about Brentford, man. I should be sitting here going, Brentford, 5-0, Rashford 2, Sancho 2, you know, but no, sorry, go on, Nath, yeah.
Garth, it's just the thing with us, yeah, our little thing. We're gonna do that. You know, our thing with we basically made a little new game here.
Yeah, we both got 0 points on it.
we saying whoever gets the right score, gets the score, lost completely. But listen, we can't do that until the team sheet is out. So we'll text each other. We're not doing it in the pre-match because it doesn't make sense.
They're doing their own game, so at least they can get some points on the board.
Oh no! You got to do it on the pre-match. You got to take the gamble, mate. You got to take the gamble, mate.
I don't know who's playing. I can't tell you what. I don't know who's playing.
I love this. I love the way Nathan tries to join me in. God, what we do, yeah? So we're waiting until the lineups out, yeah.
Listen, you've got to
1-0 up, yeah, and then we say what the score will be, yeah.
You've got to look in your fantasy Premier League teams by Friday midday, mate.
Negative over here. Do that with Marcel. You might get a win there.
I'm not Mystic Meg unless that I know the team. I need to know the starting up, and I can tell you.
Marcel, come on, give us your thoughts on the Brentford game. Just a quick one.
It's either going to be 2-1 United or 3-2 United. I think it's going to be one of them rock and roll kind of matches where there's lots of goals. Ten Hag wants to play attacking football, and so does I can't remember the man's name. Tom. What's the Brentford's manager?
Frank.
But anyway, Brentford's style of football, they're going to want to attack as well, and they're going to be in the home crowd. We beat them last time at home at their ground, and it was counter-attacking football that kind of won us that game.
That's
but
right.
I think it's going to be 3-2 Manchester United. Lots of goals in that game. Rashford will score if he starts in that game. And looking forward to seeing us win again now, and get that kind of good habit of wins. Again, let's see what Ten Hag learns from that fixture. Let's see what he learns from the last fixture at Brighton, because there's things that he needs to learn. Ronaldo will start, so he will have a big impact and a big kind of boost within the team, but it'll be 3-2 United.
Can I just say, Marcel, when we were doing this pre-season about the first 5 games, you were adamant that Man United would beat Brighton because we beat them at home last season.
You're a bastard for that.
Listen, when I got to the ground, I was adamant we was going to win as well, but you're letting me down, Garth. I can't lie. You're letting me down right now, mate.
Billy Van Perspeak, I'm hoping you are a new subscriber as well. Thank you very much for that comment. All right. That is definitely all we have time for. Actually, quick one. I think you already said it. Nath, what's your front three if Tony comes in?
Martial, Tony, and Sancho.
Garth, quickly.
Exactly the same.
Exactly
Marcel?
the same. Exactly the same. Without doubt. That's the best three.
Yeah.
Questions. Garrett's gone for a 3-0 win. Make sure you join us for the pre-match preview of the Man United versus Brentford game. Do not miss it. Hit that like and subscribe. Make sure you hit your notifications as well so you don't miss a thing. Callum's loving the show as well. Appreciate your support, people. Thank you for joining us tonight, Nathan.
Been good. It's been great today.
All right.
The laugh.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Garth.
Pleasure as always, mate.
Spitting ball.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah, Garth's got medals. There's people in the comment section losing their mind. Garth! Right there, football socks at him. Love it. And Marcel, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, guys, man. Fantastic show today. I appreciate you all.
All right. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, people. Peace out. Stay safe and wash your hands.